Hi guys, so you're about to do the third part of your project. So it's the same idea. We're solving these literal equations where there's just a bunch of variables. Sometimes there's numbers, but they're called literal equations. And since this is part 3, it's just getting a little bit tougher or a little bit different. So just like the other ones, take out a piece of paper, write down these examples with me, and then you can look at those examples as you do your project. That will really help you. So I made these problems very similar to the ones that you'll see on the project. Okay, so for number 1, we're trying to solve for b, that little arrow I just indicated which variable they want you to solve for. So in order to solve for something that's in the numerator of a fraction, we have to get rid of the denominator of the fraction first. So right now this whole thing is being divided by 4 pi squared. So I'm going to multiply by 4 pi squared on both sides. So on the left, I get to just leave that as 4 pi squared times a, or you could have put a times 4 pi squared. That doesn't matter. On the right, those canceled out, and I'm left with bc squared. So I'm trying to solve for b. I need to get rid of this c squared. Right now, I'm multiplying by c squared. So the opposite of multiplying by c squared is dividing by c squared. So on the left here, I have 4 pi squared times a divided by c squared. And I can just leave it all like that because I don't know what those variables represent. And on the right, I just have b. Now, if you had the a in the front, that's fine. That's the same thing because multiplication, you can multiply in either direction. Number 2, I'm trying to solve again for something in the numerator of the fraction. So if I'm solving for something in the numerator, I first have to get rid of the denominator. So I'm going to multiply by d squared on both sides. So on the left, I have a times d squared. And on the right, I eliminated my denominator and I just have bc. So I'm trying to solve for c this time. So I'm going to divide both sides by b. So on the left, I have a d squared divided by b. And on the right, I just have my c. So both of those you were solving for something in the numerator of the fraction. Okay, so now moving on to number 3, we're trying to solve for something in the denominator of the fraction. So these are different. Make sure you write these down so you have a good example in your notes. To solve for something in the denominator, there's no way to just, well, there is, but this is what I would suggest you do. We are going to first multiply by this denominator. Let me show you what happens. So I'm going to multiply by DE on both sides. Okay, so on the left here, I now have DE times A equals, and over here I eliminated that denominator for a minute, BC. So remember, my goal here is I'm solving for D. I ended up moving D over here to this side, but that's okay. I'm still solving for D. So to get D by itself, I need to get rid of this times E and times A. So I'm going to divide by E and A. So now I have just D, and over here I have BC divided by EA. So it's a little trickier when you're solving for something in the denominator. You're first going to multiply by that denominator, and that moves it over here. But then that frees you up to eliminate the things next to it. So that's what you need to do right there. Okay, number 4 is going to be similar. We're solving for something in the denominator again. So I'm going to first multiply by this whole denominator, C, D, E, on both sides. So on the left, I have C, D, E, A. And on the right, I just have B. I was trying to solve for D here. I moved it to the other side, but I'm still solving for it. So I need to get D by itself. Right now I have D times C and times E and A. So I'm going to divide by C, E, and A. When I do that, on the left, I just have D. And on the right, I have this B over C, E, A. One more. So this one, we're solving for something that's in the numerator of the fraction, okay? So we need to eliminate the denominator, so I'm going to multiply by EF. So on the left, I have this EF times A squared. On the right, I have BC squared D. I'm trying to solve for D, so I need to get rid of those things that are next to D. These are being multiplied right now, so I'm going to divide by BC squared. So on the left, I have this EFA squared divided by BC squared. And on the right, I have D. Remember, these can be in any order. You could have had the a squared first and then the EF. Okay. All right, so on every single one of these for this project, they're all fractions. So remember to first multiply by the denominator. And sometimes you're solving for the thing in the denominator too.